See King Kong battle the Kong of Steel. Challenge a copter squadron. Defy an army of tanks. Fight primordial monsters. An all-new adventure. King Kong Escapes. Thrilling in Technicolor.
You guys want to go get some D-E-S-S-E-R-T? Yeah, dude, I need me a T-R-E-A-T.
What you guys talking about?
Yeah, why did you guys just spell dessert?
No, shut up! Don't say it!
Why?
Oh god, how do we tell you this?
Simon can't spell. What? He can't spell, so when we talk about something he wants, we spell it out loud so he doesn't get too excited.
He's a grown man. He can't handle hearing the word treat?
Treat?
No treat.
Treat?
No treat.
Treat?
No treat.
Oh.
Okay, what is happening?
We told you he gets excited when he hears the word T-R-E-A-T.
What you talking about?
Taxes.
Oh, shucks.
What, so you guys just treat him like a toddler?
Treat?
No treat. Treat?
No treat.
Treat?
No treat.
Oh. Dude, you gotta spell if you're talking about F-O-O-D.
Okay, so are we getting an S-N-A-C-K?
Snack? Oh, come on,
Oh,
man.
dude, really?
Oh, come on, I spelled it. Well, he knows how to spell snack.
So he can spell snack, but he can't spell treat?
Treat?
No treat!
Treat?
No treat!
Treat?
No treat!
God damn it! Okay, he's getting fussy. It's time for an N-A-P.
Yeah.
What does N-A-P spell?
Party.
Okay, let's see how shitty my internet is right now. Let me just do a quick rundown of the chat, and then you guys can tell me if internet is shitty or not. Not that I believe you, but I saw a comment by KSS. Let's see here. Well, let me see. Bear here says, hopefully you've been treating... I'm not Bear. She's a terrorist, and she deserves to be treated with mockery. KSS made a comment here about today's movie. Where is it? Let me see. Hold on. I saw your comment here, KSS. And I sort of kind of echo it. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. He says, I'm a horror fan, and I have to say I was kind of dissatisfied with this one. So we're going to get into that because, yeah, I got some things to say. So in the meantime, because I want to stay away from the cheerful intros. It looks like I'm good. Yeah, I want to stay away from the cheerful intros because of a Monday horror stream. So I will go ahead and play this in the meantime. Let's see how you guys feel about it, and then we'll get right into the movie. Here we go. And F you, Bear. I saw that comment, so F you. F you. Son of a bitch.
No.
This is a short span film, by the way.
No.
Go ahead. It is called Resist Wolf. 8 minutes long. And yes, it's a short werewolf movie. So enjoy it, and then we'll talk about our movies. Curse of the Wolf. I hate studios.
Dad? How was your hunting trip?
Oh, it was okay.
Where's Landon?
He left.
Gonna be a full moon tonight. Are you sure you're okay?
Because of my trip, I missed out on a lot of work. I'll be in the shed tonight. Whatever you do, don't go in the shed.
Why?
We'll talk about that, KSS. That's a good point. We'll talk about
I need
that.
you to
Like I said,
listen
I had
to me,
opinions
okay?
on the movie too.
Okay. What now? Dad's acting weird. What do you mean weird? I don't know. He's like hiding something. Don't you have zombies to kill?
Shout out to the chat.
Whatever.
Hopefully you guys are having a good evening. We're watching a quick short film for Werewolf before we discuss our movie for today. Welcome to the Monday Month Moratorium. Today's movie is going to be a discussion on the Hammer horror film, First the Werewolf. As you guys have prepared to come in, you are enjoying a quick short film called Werewolf. I'm going to give this gentleman here a little exposure, because why not?
Good.
Indeed, that is a rough idea. That is true. By the way, shout out to my internet for not being
Did you hear that?
too.
Yeah, it sounded like banging on the door. Let's go check it out.
Do they though, Kansas? Do they really knock? I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna press X to down on that one.
Open the door. No, you open it. Fine.
Is there a werewolf etiquette out there in the community? I don't think werewolf
Nothing's
etiquette,
there. Let's
but it's so
go.
badass. We just do. If they're not, that would be a flag. Oh, you never know. I mean, oh, it's werewolf vision. One thing I can tell you about the movie, it does use practical effects, which is good. Werewolf films must use practical effects. Colors for the bank, grab your bet, or beat up a boogeyman. That's a pretty damn good not too much execution, but comes in the stream on it. She won't stop monotonous. Ooh, never mind. Don't do it. Don't do it, Cameron. Don't freaking do it. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Nearly reverted a catastrophe. All right.
Dad, are you okay?
I think so.
Oh, come on, Cass. It's a fan film. They don't have much of a budget. It's honestly, this is a better werewolf movie than any of the in the last 20 years. Maybe not as good as the Wolf. Okay, just showing the credits to you guys who watched it through different credits. respect here. Okay. We spoke over it, therefore we made it create transformative. So there you go. That's great. People agree. I thought the visual effects are pretty good. Probably need to be shot better. There you go. All right. And oh, never mind. I was okay. I boomed it. There you go. All right. So you guys heard me. So I click on the hide on stream thinking that I was hidden, but no, I was on there. So there we go. No, there it could be. It could be a national production. I don't know. It could be. It checks out. But colors throwing tables, being violent as usual, because you never can be happy. Colors never be happy ever. I'm trying to run a stream, trying to do things differently, trying to make a nice little atmosphere for horror fans, my fellow horror fans, who come here on a Monday evening to spend time with me so we can discuss some classic horror films. And last week we watched the Curse of the Mummy, and The Mummy. It was called The Mummy, not The Curse of the Mummy. That's a whole different movie. But we watched Hammer's The Mummy, and we followed up today with The Curse of the Werewolf. And KSS made a comment that I have to agree with. It was kind of a disappointing movie, but we're going to talk about it here. And for those of you that watched it in the chat, let me hear your thoughts on this. But if you haven't already, I'm going to do the corny thing of telling you how to hit the like and subscribe button, because that's what people that are corny do. We tell you to hit the like and subscribe button. Let me show a still from the movie, because I don't want to spend my time watching my mug. There we go. That is Oliver Reed in full makeup as the werewolf. And one thing I will say about the makeup, it's a pretty good job, decent makeup job. You can clearly tell that they were inspired by the Wolfman, Universal's Wolfman. But I can see where the Wolfman from Monster Squad got its inspiration from. So there's like a little connection here or there. But yeah, I think it's a pretty decent werewolf makeup job on this movie. But I do have to stress, and I must warn you, if you haven't seen this, and by the way, we are going to discuss little spoilers, so just hang in there. I'm seeing people coming into the stream. Night Elf Wolf and Curse of the Werewolf, but Oliver Reed is great. Oliver Reed does a good job, but yes, that is one. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me backtrack. Okay, so Oliver Reed is in half of the movie, so he doesn't appear until 47 minutes in, and the reason is because the movie begins with some bum who is he enters this banquet by these nobles, and he is made a mockery out of. They give him food, they give him drink, but they make a show out of him, and he's then tossed into prison, where a jailer and his daughter are making sure he's fed. So one day the jailer's daughter grows up, and she's mute, by the way, so she doesn't get to talk. So she gives him a dinner, right? But she notices that he's kind of going through some weird transformation. And Kansas made a point earlier that the reason that Oliver Reed's curse happens because he was born on the 25th. No, it's because what happened was the mute girl who becomes a woman, she is thrown in prison because the nobleman, who's not a real nobleman, he's what is he? He is he's a marquis. Okay, that's what he is. He's the marquis. So he tries to make a pass on the woman, and she rejects him. So he tosses her in jail and throws her into the same jail cell with the beggar. But the beggar's already gone through some weird transformation. He's got a lot more hair. He's looking more hairier, so you could tell like there's something going on with him. Oh, speaking of going on, oh look who's here! Look who's here! You know, Jabbage, I'm reviewing a movie from your hometown, okay? This is one of y'all's movies. But if you're going to come here and cause ruckus and disruption, then guess what? We're going to be at odds. We're going to be at such odds. So, you try to start something, Jabbage. Yeah, all will be exploded. Of course you will. Of course you will. Aha! Aha! Yeah, exactly. I'm glad I got you all riled up. I'm glad I'm rent-free in your head. All the time, Jabbage. All the time. Can't talk about a movie without you coming in here disrupting you with your violence. And oh look, it's a member of another one of the band's own the Banites. That's right, I have that stupid XP thing. I try to get rid of the XP thing. It's not letting me. It's so stupid. So But anyway, the mute girl gets raped by the jailer, by the beggar who's in prison. And the next shot is she's all ravished and everything, but we see that the beggar is dead. So she is brought to the Marquis's chambers, but she ends up killing the Marquis. She escapes and is rescued by this scholar. His name is Don Alfredo Corlito, and he lives with a housekeeper. So they take her in, and they find out that she's pregnant. So much time goes by, and she gives birth on December 25th, which is Christmas Day, of course. And then she ends up dying upon her seeing the kid. Yeah, that was weird. Like it begins with the whole thing is like she gets raped, so it's kind of uncomfortable. And I read that the movie was censored in the UK, so and that's why Jabbage doesn't care, because this was censored where you're at, so you got to see a censored version. But us Yankees, we got to see the full version. So egg on your face, Jabbage. So the mute girl dies, and the Don Corleone ends up raising the child as his own, and the child grows up to be Oliver Reed, and he tries to live his life, but then he finds out that he has the curse. What happened is that they are under the impression, or because Don visits his local priest, who tells him that to keep the child from becoming a werewolf, they need to show him constant love and positivity and nurturing and all that stuff. So he goes through years without that. KS says, the beggar went through a transformation. He's been in jail for 2 decades and didn't see the son or a barber. Yes. Yeah. Well, no, there's a okay. So that's not. So you're going with the whole thing that he was that he just happened to be because here's the thing, like there was something about the beggar. There was something definitely there. I don't think it was because that's what I got, that he had the curse and he passed it on to her. So I don't think it. Because I didn't get anything from the movie that said that because the child was born on the 25th he became a werewolf. I didn't see any of that. So at least I don't think I got that impression from, because if the curse is that because he was a child of rape and born on the 25th, that makes him a werewolf. I think that's kind of stupid. I think it's kind of stupid. I will admit that's actually a very stupid way. I was under the impression, based on how it was playing out, because of how animalistic he was, that the beggar had the werewolf curse in him, and he passed it on to the woman upon raping her. So, oh, I'm sorry, Jabbage. I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I love seeing you coping and seething in the chat. Yeah, he's coping and seething. Here's Jabbage coping and seething. Cope and seethe. Jabathius, cope and seethe. Cope and seethe. KS says beggars can't be choosers, but sometimes the Marquis gives you a mute broad. Well, if you're gonna get a mute broad, at least treat her nicely. Treat him with a little kindness. That might get you something, Yeah, that's about right. 35 minutes. No, wait. No, he's in there longer. He gets introduced in the 47-minute mark. So that gives him a good 30, 40, 45 minutes of screen time, which is not unheard of in some movies where the lead doesn't come in until much later. I mean, have you ever seen 2001 Space Odyssey, where Keira Dullier's character doesn't come in until 15, 20 minutes into the movie, I think, or even 25 minutes? Heck, how long did it take Christopher Reeve to come into a Superman movie? Took him almost an hour, no? I think it did. I think it took him almost an hour to get. No, maybe not that long, but quite a bit. So it wasn't a Christmas gift. I mean, if you want to call being a werewolf Christmas gifts, I mean, sure, why not? Why not, right? So wait, no, I'm joking. But the beggar was in jail for 15 years, and you tell me he didn't constantly turn into a werewolf? The script wasn't coherent. See, okay, so this is what I got, because it wasn't the case of him just being ruggedy because he hadn't been out of prison. I really got the sense that he was carrying that curse. That's the sense I got, that he was carrying that curse, and he passed it on to the lady when he raped her. So, and it would make sense if he didn't change, if he was kept away from the moon or what have you. But then again, they tried that with Oliver Reed's Leon. His name is Leon in the movie. They tried that with him, it didn't really work. So I don't know. I can see your point about it being incoherent, but I didn't mind the narrative structure. I didn't mind it being like they start out with this bear coming out of nowhere, and then he gets mocked, thrown in prison, and then the Marquis entertains having a mute jailer, giving him food for all these years, and then she gets raped, and then she kills the Marquis, and then she escapes, gets rescued, gives birth, he dies, and the child becomes the main character. I didn't necessarily mind that, but if you're gonna do that, you want to give the audience more werewolf, and there wasn't enough werewolf scenes in the movie, so you don't really see him in full makeup until like the last 10 or so minutes of the movie, and yeah, it's kind of disappointing. It is kind of disappointing. Jabathia says, if you make 1K in your next book, you should shave all your hair off. I mean, it's not much of a what is it? Extreme thing, I guess, but I suppose I don't know. But I should make 4K. If I make 5K. If I make 5K in my next book, I'll shave my hair off. So it took a while for Chris to show up, but he's on like 2 hours. He's on like 2 hours of a second and of a 2.5 hour movie. Okay. I mean, yeah. I'm just doing some comparisons. I'm not saying that all these comparisons have to stick, but I'm just saying it's not unheard of for the main actor to appear much later into the movie. So I don't think, to me, that wasn't the biggest problem of the movie. The biggest problem of the movie was not enough werewolf scenes. We need to see more of the werewolf. Now, I said werewolf, not grape scenes, Jabbage. Not grape scenes. That's why you're in the band zone with green colors. Shit. Don't set your sights too high. I'm important, Jabbage. I'm very important in the scene. I have relevance and significance. I have a right to set myself up high. I am extremely relevant, Jabbage. So 5K it is. 5K it absolutely is. Freaking A. Damn right I'm going to set my sights high. As I was watching The Curse of the Werewolf, I kept thinking about how hard apparently it's really hard to make a good werewolf movie. And I thought about my 5 favorites. The 2 obvious ones are The Howling and An American Werewolf in London. And then there's Bad Moon with Mary Hemingway. And then, of course, Lon Chaney's Wolfman. And I put in there the original Werewolf in London, because it's a very underrated movie, pre-code werewolf movie. I like that one a lot. So those are my 5. But then Monster Squad had a good werewolf monster in it. And I think that's about it. Like, none of the Howling movies after the first one were good. They all suck shit. All of them. Fight me on this one. Even part 3, which had some decent werewolf scenes, was kind of silly. It was very silly. So, now we're talking about werewolf movies, Bear, not horror movies in general. Werewolf movies. We're talking about werewolf movies. But I love The Thing. The Thing was actually very good, yes. But I'm just talking about werewolf movies. And those are the 5 that I named that I think were probably good. People are going to say Dog Soldiers was good. I had to watch that movie twice. I had to watch Dog Soldiers twice for me to say, okay, I kind of like it. I know people swear at Dog Soldiers. Again, like, it needed more werewolf scenes. For some reason, people are free to shoot extended werewolf scenes in werewolf movies. Yeah, Monster Squad was good. Yes, better than the Goonies. Yes, 100% better than the Goonies. Actually, hot take. I'm giving you guys a hot take right now. I think the Goonies is overrated. Throw those darts at me. Yes, I think the Goonies was a very overrated movie. As far as like 80s movies with kids and going through all kinds of adventures, I thought Monster Squad was better. I thought Explorers was better. And I thought like the actors in that movie did better movies like Gremlins, Indiana Jones, and Temple of Doom. I mean, Goonies wasn't bad. I just thought it was overrated. Some people like it. That's great, but I don't know. American Werewolf in London was so good. That's why it's in my top 5. I put that in my top 5 in terms of werewolf movies. Obviously, it has to be there. Jabbage says, I only like Dog Soldier. I know you do, because you're a Brit. So you have to like your kind, Jabbage, because your kind is the only thing allowable in your sphere. That's why you're in the band zone. But A lot of people like Dog Soldiers. I had to, again, I had to watch it twice for me to be like, okay, I can see why people like it. First time I was like, I ain't no werewolf movies, and then the second time I was like, okay, it's not bad, but again, it just needs more werewolf scenes. Brotherhood of the Wolf. I think I watched it one time and I said, how I don't consider it a werewolf movie. I don't think it's just. I'll have to watch it with a more open mind. But when I first watched it, I'm like, where are the werewolves in this fucking thing? I don't see it. So Guy says, "Wow." I don't know what that's a reference to, but I don't care because Guy's pissed off. So Goonies is over. Yes, Kay says. Good. See, Kay says this is why you need to stop being a jerk to me. Stop being a jerk to me. Because we are kindred spirits, but you want to be a jerk to me. You want to side with the band zone, and you want to put their darts in my back. At the very least, it's darts. You're not chucking your spear at me. So at least there's that. But still, you side with the band zone, and you're going to lose one person that agrees with you on these takes. You need to be nicer to me. See, this is why Guy's in the band zone. He's like, I never saw Monster Squad, but I'm sure it sucks. That's why you belong in the band zone, Guy. Stay there. Benicio del Toro played a good werewolf. Yeah, Wolf. I have to see Wolfman. I haven't seen it. I know the transformation scene was pretty good, but I haven't seen that movie in its entirety yet. So, Jabbit says it's called suspense, not seeing a creature for a while. Okay, but when they finally show the creatures, they don't show enough of them. So I know what it is, Jabbage. The Howling did it better. That's right, fight me. The Howling did it better. That's suspense, and that's a great werewolf movie. Tech Zombie said, you actually typed this? Wow. Tech Zombie actually typed these words and put it in this chat. He actually wanted me to highlight this. Matt Kimmy was way better than, well, you know what? I didn't particularly care for E.T., so maybe I don't know. A lot of people do, but E.T. was kind of meh for me. Meh. Okay, it says that the Wolfman remake was dog shit. Curse of the Werewolf was better than... Oh, wow, really? Let me hear your thoughts on that, case. Why do you think that is? Because I haven't seen the Wolfman remake, but... And we're talking about the Benicio del Toro Wolfman, so... Right? That's what we're talking... We're not talking about the one that just came out in the theater. We're talking about the Benicio del Toro. Because the one that just came out recently, yeah, that's dog shit. That was pure crap. And I'm not going to waste my time on that. So if that's what you're referring to, then... Yeah, I'm pretty much I would agree with you on that. So Underworld was kind of I didn't like the CGI in that though. I hate CGI werewolves. Hamilton Silver Bullet, one of the few good King of the adaptations. Yeah, I kind of liked it. I wouldn't put it in my top 5 because I hated the werewolf design in that movie. He looked like a giant capybara. So he didn't look like a werewolf. He looked like a capybara. I was like, that's not a good werewolf design. But it was practical and it was a decent story. So I was okay with it. So let's see. I hated E.T. Exactly. I know. I'm such a jerk, Javich. Stay in the band zone. That's where you belong. See, look, even Guy, like a broken clock, is right once a day. He says, E.T. was too much of a family kids movie to me, in my opinion. I didn't even mind that. It's just, I guess time has overrated that movie. Oh, wait, Jabbit, I got a real piece of crap to think E.T. was meh. Well, guess what, Jabbit? It's meh. It's meh. Now you have reason to hate me. Grab your spear and chuck it at me. Hate me, Jabbit. Hate me all you want. I do think it was overrated. Yes. So, but yeah, so yeah, my thoughts on this was I appreciate the production value. I appreciated the narrative structure. What it was is that there wasn't enough werewolf movie in the movie. It needed more of that. Okay, it says yes, the Benicio del Toro one. Okay, I was hyped. I was happy that it was set in the past. Then I saw it. It was terrible. It didn't feel like a horror movie to me. Okay, that's kind of shocking. So that is kind of shocking. All right, interesting. But thanks for saving me some time because now I don't got to sit through it because the transformation scene looked kind of good, But if the story around it sucks, then no, I don't want to waste my time. Bear says American Werewolf in London practical effects are really awesome for the time. They're still awesome today. Between that and Howling, they still have better werewolf effects than anything that's come out in Hollywood that recently. Jabba says, I already hated you. I know you did. I know you did. And I want you to continue to hate me. Continue to hate me. Absolutely. So, see, I'm not the only one. Wasn't much on ET either. See, I'm not the only one. I feel like I'm part of a community. That's great, Kobe Mac. I feel great about that. I definitely feel great about that. So you're watching a lobby card for Curse of the Werewolf. And remember we talked about lobby cards? Oh, the digital effects were garbage? Oh, you talk about for the Benicio del Toro? Oh, you mean for the later werewolf movies? Yeah, absolutely. They're pretty bad, especially the sequel, American Werewolf in Paris. And it's not hard to do that. It isn't hard to go back and make a werewolf movie with decent practical effects. It's like, honestly, that's money in the bank. That's money in the bank. So, but for some reason they don't want to do that. They don't want to go back and do the practical effects. That's like an easy formula, and they botch it every time. They botch it every single time. So, let's see. Helmet says Howling 2 is cool. Are you available, Helmet? Do you want to come on? We need to have a conversation. Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link on X, on your DM. Why don't you come on and let's have a conversation about it, because my voice can only sustain so much. There we go. Come on in and let's have a conversation. But I hated Howling 2. I don't know what I hated more, Howling 2 or Howling 3. I think I preferred Howling 3 over Howling 2. And yes, I know you like it for the wrong reason. I mean, Christopher Lee was good, but Christopher Lee hated that movie. He famously said that he had to apologize. So Joe Dante directed the first Howling movie, and then he directed Gremlins 2, the new batch. Christopher Lee was in Gremlins 2, the new batch, and Christopher Lee told the story that when he saw Joe Dante, he apologized to him for doing Howling 2, because that's how much he hated Howling 2. Oh no, my house is falling apart. But that's how much he hated Howling 2. So, okay, it says you could watch the Wolfman remake. Don't take my word for it. It's subjective. It just fell off in terms of tone, and they added convoluted stuff to it. I'll take your word for it because he seemed to be right about this movie. So, I'll take your word for it. Oh, wait. Javage is awful. He says, I cried when that little effing alien said, I'll be right here, and then pointed at him. He's such an awful man. Such an awful man. How dare you say that? Chris Irving says, where's the pit video, last man? Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm actually currently editing it right now, and I got some exclusive stuff that I'm adding onto it. So it's coming. It's absolutely, and to deviate a little bit, I had no clue how much of a sore spot that whole thing was, but some people reached out to me, and I got some information to put on there. So it's definitely coming. Maybe later this week or early next week, but it is absolutely on its way. So let's see here. Well, Helmut did give a couple of reasons why, last man. Reasons for what? Reasons for what? You can't type half sentences and not follow through. Because I don't know what you're saying. What does that mean? What does that mean? The Pit is not the Pit documentary. Yeah, it is. It is. It absolutely is. So a lot of people are going to be well informed. Some are going to be pissed off about it, but the ones that are pissed off about it, you kind of can tell that they're not coming in with good faith arguments. So, Sybil Danning, I found her overrated. I guess she's kind of cute. But I found her overrated. So, I don't know what to tell you. I know that the whole thing with her removing her shirt and all that stuff, that was like a thing that made it that made that movie, I guess, a cult favorite. I really hated that movie though. I don't, you know what it is? As I get older, I tend to see like nudity and sex as kind of like a very cheap. I guess I'm not. Maybe I'm a fuddy duddy. Who knows? Maybe I'm a crud. Who's wrong? Oh, Kansas wants to be. He wants to be in the pit documentary. He wants to. It's close up. Okay, so whenever we're ready. But while we do that, I got a guest in the back. He's finally in here. So let me go ahead and give him an intro. So I'll give him this one. Why not? Hello,
Hello,
my good friend Mood of Hell.
hello, and sorry for the delay. The weather is not kind to me in Germany.
Oh, well, that's messed up. It should be kinder to you.
Yeah, I know. I deserve it.
Now, have you seen Curse of the Werewolf?
a, a long time ago, maybe at the beginning of the 2000s,
Okay. What do you remember about it?
that this movie was not intended to be a werewolf movie.
Oh, okay.
And the explanation is in the backstory, because the whole setting was made for a different movie, not a werewolf movie.
Mhm.
And they feared for censorship, and then they made this werewolf movie,
Mhm.
which put them ironically in the crosshairs with the British censorship bureau.
Mhm. Right.
So they had a lot of trouble making that movie and bringing that movie out and about in the cinemas.
Right.
They had to cut back a lot of werewolf scenes, a lot of violent scenes. So we got that movie that we got, a snooze fest for the most part, with an interesting backstory who could have been way better if the censorship bureau in Great Britain would have let them.
So I read about the censorship. I thought it was just limited to the UK version. And I read that there was a censored UK version versus a more complete print that was available. But you're saying that there was more scenes that were edited out, period. That never made it into any of the final prints.
Yeah, in order to publish this movie, they had to cut back a lot of the werewolf stuff.
That's a shame because you can see the makeup here, and the makeup job is very good for 1961. And yeah, you can see he was very clearly influenced by Jack Pierce's makeup for the Wolfman, and it was very influential on the later werewolf movies, like the Monster Squad. So the werewolf makeup was pretty good, but there wasn't enough of it.
Also, the first and maybe only albino werewolf with the white fur.
Was this for white though?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so. I think it was like a brown. Well, let me see. I could have sworn it was like a brownish. I mean, yeah, it was like a brownish, light brownish color. It wasn't dark hair, that's for certain. But yeah, I wouldn't say albino.
It looked a little bit chalky for me, and he did wear the white clothes.
Yeah, the clothing was fine in terms of like it wasn't it did add to the animalistic physical attributes of the monster. So, but yeah, the makeup was definitely not the problem in the movie, but not enough monster, not enough creature scenes, not enough mayhem, not enough of him just being a monster and seeing some money shots. And in 1961, you can't do that many money shots in terms of like violence and gore. But there was a couple of scenes that were kind of bloody, like the scenes with when the mute woman was raped, and there's another one where one of the who was it? Oh yeah, one of the ladies in the later on when she gets mauled by the werewolf. I thought that was kind of bloody, right before her drunk husband is taken out. So there's a little bit of blood in this movie. Not throughout, but there is some. I would even argue it's probably bloodier than horror Dracula. You don't agree?
Yeah, but werewolf movies have to be a little bit more violent because it's an animalistic movie.
Yes.
About wolf guy.
It should be. I believe that, but maybe it could be that in 1961 they still hadn't perfect that formula yet, and probably because budgetary reasons. You know.
It's a shame because the bad experience with that movie led Hammer to never make another werewolf movie again.
That is a shame. And yeah, this is the only werewolf movie in Hammer's library. So if you're wondering if they got better, they didn't, because there never been another werewolf movie. And it's a shame because the makeup was pretty good. And I think if they pressed on with it, they probably would have made a very good werewolf movie later on. But unfortunately, they didn't. And someone named Paul Naschy started doing werewolf movies in Spain, so that kind of took over the mantra of werewolf films until the 80s. But we probably should do one of those movies sometime later on. But yeah,
the Paul Naschy movies, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think that everybody knows in America about those movies. They still fly under the radar for most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my introduction to one of the Naschy movies was in New York in the 80s when they were doing a week-long monster movie marathon. And it wasn't the Count Voldemort movies, but it was like one of the Dracula movies he did. And that was my introduction to Paul Naschy. But I've only seen one other Paul Naschy film. It was one of the werewolf movies. It was the one where he fought the Yeti. That was the only other one I saw. Yeah.
There are only two categories of Paul Naschy movies: the really good ones and the really shitty ones.
Yeah.
And one of the shitty ones is Dracula Hunts Frankenstein. That's a crap movie from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, he did a lot. I mean, he had a good career, but he did a lot of clunkers. Oh.
He also was a bit of a sleazeball, and you can see that in those movies.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
A really slimy guy in the sense of a Jess Franco, maybe.
I believe that.
And also a little bit deranged, so in the Klaus Kinski style.
It's funny. I thought about that. Like I when you was talking about Naschy and how you described it as being sleazy, for some reason I thought about Klaus Kinski.
Kinski did some very interesting horror movies.
Yeah.
Besides the Nosferatu one that most people know. But he has this horror movie called Crawl Space, where he plays a deranged guy who has a kind of a hotel, kind of a pension, and traps people there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I didn't see that one, but yeah, he does have that kind of library. I thought about the Dracula one where he played Renfield.
That's a Jess Franco movie.
Yes, with Christopher Lee as Dracula.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, that iteration of the Bram Stoker stuff is lore-wise pretty near the book for the most part.
Mm-hmm. I've heard someone else say that too. But I remember watching it, I remember being bored out of my wits with that movie. But yeah, I guess so. KSS says, I had to step away. Who is a sleazeball? Wait, I step away for a minute and you start talking smack about me? F you guys. Well, KSS, we have to keep your memory and image and name alive. So you know how it goes here. That's how we do it.
So KSS is the Paul Naschy of the chat.
Hold on, I didn't address this comment by Guy from the Band Zone. No, we love happiness. I'm sorry that if we don't love you, but we love happiness. So totally unnecessary. This is unnecessary. I get it that a lot of people didn't like this movie, but don't take it out on me. I'm just a messenger here.
That's funny because I was miserable for the most part of the day, and now I'm laughing because it's so funny.
What is so funny? What is the hilariousness mood of hell? What is it?
I don't know. It's my mood brightens up when I'm here with the chat and your very funny presence.
Well, here's the problem because Guy thinks that we have a miserable era here. No, I'm very happy, Guy. I'm ecstatic. It's just that I don't accept your spear chucking. I don't accept it. Okay? I'm not gonna be allowed to be bullied by you and pierced by you and have violence committed against me. I'm very happy away from that, Gee. God. What's wrong with Gee? Oh, I forgot he's in the band zone. Never mind. Okay. I answered my own question. So but yeah, there's not much really more to say about Curse of the Werewolf, but the acting was pretty good. The production values was good. Cinematography in some spots was pretty good, but it wasn't to me as impressive as The Mummy. That had some really good cinematography, but I feel like this movie, good production values, good acting, but I think the cinematography wasn't as good as the last movie.
Like I said in the beginning, you can almost feel through the whole part of the movie that this movie was intended to be something very different. That it was in the end. I wouldn't say it's half-assed, because that's too negative, but you can sense that it's not intended to be a werewolf movie and that they had something else in mind when they started the production.
Well, KSS says it was incoherent, so that might add to what you're saying. It definitely does feel like there was something missing in the translation of the script to the movie itself. KSS here is echoing what I said. Curse of the Werewolf looks good, acting was good, but the story was meh. Possibly the weakest of the Hammer movies of the 60s. Okay, I think that's kind of fair, and it's kind of tragically fair, because I really wanted to like this movie. Like, I love good werewolf movies. It's like with a Godzilla film. Like, I want to like a good Godzilla film. I want to like a good werewolf movie. So tonight was the first time I actually saw this movie, and I really wanted to like it. I wanted to be like, okay, this is like one of the best werewolf films, and it's not. And it's disappointing to say that.
But I also wouldn't say it's a crap movie. A crap Hammer movie for me is The Reptile from 1965. That's a crap Hammer movie. Sucks ass.
Yes. Vin Zinger, he says, "Sup, amigo? Sorry I'm late. Was watching Countercast. Well, welcome to the stream. We're talking about Werewolf, The Curse of the Werewolf. Yeah, look, this is not one of the worst movies I'll ever see. It's not a terrible film. It's just, if you're gonna go in expecting a werewolf movie from beginning to end, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you're gonna go in with an open mind and watch the movie, you may get something out of it. There's a lot to like about this movie, but you're just gonna have to resign yourself to the fact that it's not a consistent werewolf film. That's what I say about that. But I would not recommend it. I would say watch it and come away with your own thoughts. It's one of those movies where I will say, watch it with your own perspective. Watch it and judge it for yourself, what you think of it. But for the most part, judging by the chat, mostly people are just like, it's meh. So,
It's if you are a fan of Oliver Reed and you like Oliver Reed in movies, that movie is a no-brainer, because Oliver Reed was a good actor, especially in the kind of trashy and B movies.
Yes. And one of Oliver Reed's more recent roles, or more memorable roles, I guess, for this generation, was in Gladiator. You guys remember he was in Gladiator? I had totally forgotten until when I was researching this movie, that he was in Gladiator. That's right. So he played Antonius Proximo. That was his role. So that was him. Kiss says, Curse of the Werewolf was one of the Hammer horror that I never saw until this week. It always seemed to escape me, but I was disappointed primarily because of the story. See, I was disappointed because of the lack of the werewolf. The story wasn't the problem for me. It was the lack of werewolf that was the problem. Because if they inserted more werewolf scenes with the current story they had, I would have been fine with it. I'm like, okay, it's a very interesting narrative structure. They didn't. The Leon character doesn't come until like 30 minutes or 40 minutes into the movie as a child, and then 10 minutes after that, we see Oliver Reed playing the character. So there's a whole sequence of events that happens that leads up to Leon's birth, and then that is what starts the quote-unquote curse of the werewolf. But I feel like if they had allowed more werewolf scenes after Leon grows up, then I think this movie would have been more well received, and it would have been a much more solid horror film. So, didn't Oliver Reed die during the filming of Gladiator? I
Yes.
believe so. Yeah, yeah.
Tragically, Guy was sober for a long time and then got into a drinking contest in a bar and drank himself to death.
That's insane. Wow. Yeah. Man.
Yeah, but that's such an Oliver Reed thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Guy was a little bit of an enfant terrible, the French would say.
right.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's tragic. It really is.
Also, on a positive note,
Yes.
if you want to see an interesting and good Oliver Reed horror movie with Klaus Kinski in it, watch Venom from 1981.
Okay, I heard about that movie. Yeah, okay. Yes.
It's more of a horror thriller, but you have Oliver Reed and Klaus Kinski in one movie, and the surroundings of making the movie is interesting, very interesting. I can recommend that to the chat and to you.
Klaus Kinski, like if he wasn't doing Werner Herzog movies, he made some of the weirdest movies outside of that. Very weird. But I guess it makes his filmography interesting because of it.
Yeah, but Kinski was always an interesting character. He, no matter how big the role was, he had a very little role in for a few dollars more. As the hunchback henchman with Gian Maria Volonte as the leader. And you have this one key moment with Lee Van Cleef when he uses the matches on his hunchback.
Right.
And then they are dueling and he kills him. But this was such a key scene, and it was brilliantly played by Klaus Kinski.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I forgot he was in that movie. And those are the only westerns that I actually like, is the Man with No Name trilogy. I forgot he was in that movie.
I was not a big fan of Western movies, but beginning of the 2000s, I started to find those Italo Western movies. And then I watched Django, I watched Satana, I watched the Bud Spencer and Terence Hill Western movies, and then I was mystified by those movies. And at this point, I'm a huge fan of those Italo Western movies.
Yeah, the spaghetti westerns, as we call them here. There's a charm about them. Big time. The Dollars trilogy are awesome. Oh yeah, I have the box set. Like I bought the $10 box set years ago, and it was like one of the best pieces of money I've ever spent. It's really good. But deviating too much from that conversation, let's go back to the werewolf conversation. So, Helmut, let me ask you a question. What are your top 5 favorite werewolf films?
The Howling, number 1.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Silver Bullet, number 2.
Okay.
Now I must think.
See, this poses a problem, because this is how hard it is to find a good collective amount of werewolf films that are actually very good, because there's more shit than there isn't. So
I would say the Lon Chaney Jr. one.
Right. Okay. So far we are 2 out of 3 here. Okay.
Ginger Snaps is kind of interesting, but I wouldn't put it in my top 5.
Yeah, same. It is a good werewolf film, but yeah, I wouldn't put it in my top 5. Yeah.
A Company of Wolves.
Ah, okay, with Angela Lansbury, yes.
Has wonderful transformation scenes. It's a fairy tale of a horror movie. It's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best way to describe the movie. It's not really a horror film. It's like you said, a fairy tale of a horror film. So yeah.
Yeah. It's more like subspecies from Full Moon, which is also very fairy tale like for a vampire movie.
And that movie had a great poster. Let me look it up right now, in the Company of Wolves, because I remember seeing that poster as a kid and it freaked the hell out of me. Let's see, here is it. me look for the original poster, not the any. Here we go. Imagine seeing this. Let me just pull it up here. Now you see this in the video section as a child, and it does something to you. It just freaks you the hell out. You know.
Yeah, that's
That really freaked me out. Yeah.
one of the best werewolf transformations, and one of the only ones where the wolf comes out of the mouth of
Mhm.
of the human. It's
Yeah.
totally interesting. My fifth most favorite werewolf movie is American Werewolf in London.
Okay. Hey, so some decent werewolf movies in there. So
Yeah, I have some guilty pleasures like Howling 2. I know it's a crap movie, but I can laugh about that, and I still think it's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Maybe
Shit.
because I had a crush on Sybil Denning in the 90s.
Well, to be fair, you weren't the only one. There was a lot of guys that were into her, and that scene in particular gets played a lot. It was like one of the most viral scenes in the early days of the internet. There were gifts of that passed around. So I, you're not alone in that. Me personally, though, I'm like, meh, meh. But what do I know?
Could have been a way better movie if they would have listened more to Christopher Lee and his criticisms during the filming.
Imagine that. Imagine that listening to a guy who has a decent horror resume, is a well respected actor, and worked with a lot of horror greats, and then telling that guy, no, we're gonna do it better. Imagine being that asshole.
Waving Christopher Lee off during the filming and say, "Nah, we are going with the tits."
I know. Yes, I had the watch party today with Arnold and Primathor, and speaking of which, he's right there. They're both there. So I am going to be sued for stealing. No, I'm not suing for nothing. You're. I would ban Arnold and Primathor, but they serve a necessary evil in communitas. So no, I can't ban them. But they watched the movie with us today. They didn't. These jerks didn't even offer an opinion. They just watched it and then they right off and doing their little tard thing. So I didn't get any opinion out of them. So, but maybe they'll be kind enough to offer an opinion in the chat and tell me what they thought of the movie, so we can discuss. But yeah, that it went down that way. So, but yeah, you should have watched it with us. Maybe you would have had a clear mind of your opinion of the movie. Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't change anything because I everything you said I kind of agreed with. It's just yeah, it was Oh wait, there we go. Here's what he says. I said the movie definitely was used for the Hopkins remake. Well, that's not an opinion. That's just you making an observation. I'm asking you an opinion of the movie. What you thought of the movie?
What is the movie called in America with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer? Wolfen?
It's just called Wolfen. Okay, so Wolfen was a different movie from 1981. 1981 was the year that saw 3 werewolf films. It was Wolfen, An American Werewolf in London, and The Howling. All 3 of those came in 1981. The one that Jack Nicholson did from like 1982 was called Wolf.
Yeah, but that's more of a love story movie, isn't it?
I mean, kinda. It is a horror movie, but it's like you said it was. You know, I haven't seen Wolf. I didn't care for watching it because I feel like they didn't do like a full makeup job on it, and I like werewolf films where the characters look like werewolves, not like they're just wearing fangs and some hair. You know, but people that have watched it said it was good. They said James Spader was good in that movie. Jack Nicholson did pretty good, so I just gotta sit down and watch it. I guess one day. Yeah. The Curse. Yeah, The Curse is a werewolf film. I think that's the one with I forgot who was in it, but there was a scene that was that went viral on YouTube. It was, and it may have been from that movie where this lady's running away from the werewolf, and the werewolf is like nonchalantly chasing her in the parking lot, and she's hiding from the wolf. It was actually a pretty well shot scene, even though it was like some CGI, but it wasn't that bad. That scene, the movie itself, I'm not sure about, but The Wolfman remake with Anthony Hopkins also lifted from hell. Oh, from hell. It lifted from hell. Okay, I got that. Yeah, because of the whole gothic um backdrop. So that
Isn't
makes
isn't
sense.
isn't From Hell not a graphic novel from Alan Moore?
That's the one. Yeah, and it was remade into a movie with Johnny Depp. So
Yeah.
yeah. Uh James Spader and Nicholson do turn into werewolves at the end and do a complete fight. They don't become like werewolves. They don't. Okay, so they don't become wolf creatures. At least no. Okay, wait. Do they become wolves or did they just stay like human makeup with some hair on habit? Let me see. I believe they don't turn into full wolves. I think maybe they do. I'll have to check that. Let's see. Um, Wolf fight James Spader and Nicholson. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I don't want to play the scene because I don't want to get copyrighted strike or anything like that. But I am looking at it a little bit here, and let me see. Let me. Okay. Okay, so there. Okay, so there is some like decent werewolf makeup in this. So maybe I do have to watch it. Maybe I need to just give the movie a watch. So let me get a still shot that isn't going to get me copyright struck. So, okay, here we go. This is James Spader in the makeup, so I guess it's not bad. It's not bad makeup. It is actually pretty good makeup. So he also bites a black man's finger off Central Bucket, ends up in his pocket. Well, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That you know that, and B, that it happened. So I'm gonna judge you. He turns a regular wolf. That's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. I'm talking about like legit monster werewolf. You know, check Discord DM. What are you trying to send me? What are you trying to send me, Primathor? Let's see. Let me check what he wants to send me on my Discord DM.
I must say, when I look at this picture, I don't see James Spader as a werewolf. I see Rachel Maddow.
Well, this is still, yeah. This is James Spader in the wolf makeup. It's again, like it's
Looks like Teen Wolf.
yeah. There you go, Teen Wolf. Yes, it looks like that.
Yeah, he looks like a typical lesbian driving a Subaru in that makeup.
That's bad. So a werewolf that looks like a lesbian. Yikes. Was it you that said Rachel Maddow?
Yeah.
Now look at you. Now I can unsee it. Oh boy, I can unsee it. Thanks for putting that horror in my head.
And not my cup of tea, to be honest. This makeup looks goofy as fuck.
Yeah, I prefer this makeup. And again, the makeup in the Curse of the Werewolf was not the worst part of the movie. It was actually the best part of the movie. Very, very decent makeup job on there. Wasted on a very incoherent script, as KSS said earlier, and as Helmet also said, probably was inserted in a story that was meant to be something different. So I would agree with that. And now being told I gotta check my DM again because people just don't want me to run my show. That's fine. What are you showing me here? Okay, they're trying to convince me that the makeup in Wolf was good, and I'm not saying it wasn't good, but this is fine. Like, okay, this is kind of scary, but it's not a werewolf. This is Jack Nicholson with eye contact and fangs. Maybe it's kind of scary, but it's not a werewolf. That's not a werewolf.
Yeah.
It's actually very lazy makeup. It's really lazy, and I think part of it is because Nicholson probably didn't want to be in full makeup. So KSS says the script is the only real shit part of Curse of the Werewolf. Needed a few rewrites. Yeah, it needed someone to say, hey, we needed more werewolf in these scenes. We need more werewolf here, more werewolf here. That's what it needed. So Nicholson as Wolverine. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think that's a better Wolverine than it is a werewolf. Yeah, I think yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Jack Nicholson as Wolverine. That's what they're saying in the chat. So I would agree with that. Definitely as Wolverine. So, but not like this makeup here, which is definitely werewolf inspired makeup. So
Yeah, and that looks also menacing.
yeah, oh, very menacing, absolutely. So yeah, I think I said everything I need to say about this movie.
Yeah, they should have gone with the OG script and do the movie that they did intend, and then do a werewolf movie afterwards, because the original script was, I think, about the Spanish Inquisition or something like that. It was definitely a movie based in Spain, but it had
Yeah,
nothing to do with werewolves.
right, right.
So they phoned the werewolf stuff in,
Uh huh.
and that's what we got. That's what you see when
Yeah,
you watch that movie.
yeah, yeah. So basically, it's like an amalgamation of two different ideas, and they said let's just settle for a werewolf story, and somehow use these scenes to find a way to connect it. And you know, again, I didn't have a problem with the narrative structure. I just felt like it needed more werewolf movie scenes in the movie.
Yeah, could have been way better movie. But it's interesting when I think about it overall.
Mhm.
Werewolves are such a staple in the horror movie
Yeah,
community, but there are only a handful of real good werewolf movies.
yeah, yeah. I'm actually on abe.com. I don't know if you're familiar with that website, but I had this tab open for a few days, and I've been thinking about buying this book. It's called The Werewolf Book, Encyclopedia of Shape-Shifting Beings. Photos and listing are of the book that is offered for sale. So somebody's offering this book for $15. It's a publishing date of 1999, and it's supposed to be like a definitive book on werewolves. So I've been kind of interested in getting it. I mean, $15 isn't bad. So you know, I mean,
You should get the Hammer Anthology book.
there's a lot of books I want to get. I did see the Hammer Anthology, and I was like, yeah, that was like a pretty good book too. So
I get tomorrow a package of 4 big magazines from a
Mhm.
German publisher who
Right.
did a chronological order of every horror movie in existence, and they start with the beginning of the 19th and beginning of the thing with Caligari and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have the Phil Hardy Overlook Encyclopedia, and that begins in the 1890s. So I love horror encyclopedias, especially I go way back, and they do like like you call it a chronology of every horror film ever made, even the ones that were made overseas. So Tim Olsen says, "Sorry, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine." Yes, Tim Olsen, you tell them off. KSS says the Grape of Sabine was the original movie, and they were going to reuse their set, but make it look like France. The studio said no to the Grape of Sabine, so they left the set looking like Spain. Okay, interesting trivia. I used to think Clint Eastwood would have been a good Wolverine, says Tim Olsen. Well, I don't know why you thought that, but I forgive you. A lot of
I
the stream seems to be a good horror movie. Well, F you, Tim. F you, okay? Join the. No, I'm not going to let you do that. I won't put you in the ban zone because you are a comic book creator and you do give some kind of value to the community. But still, you're a jerk for saying that.
I must say about the Wolverine topic,
Yeah.
if I would make an X-Men movie in the 80s, I would take Burt Reynolds as Wolverine.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Because if you have seen him in Southern Comfort, you can see the ruthlessness
Right.
of Burt Reynolds, and he could play that pretty good off in the X-Men movie. I would say go with Burt Reynolds.
Okay. That's it. Interesting. I'll allow it. I've been thrown into the jerk zone. No, we don't. There's only one zone, and it's the ban zone. If I say you're a jerk, it doesn't mean you're in the jerk zone. It just means you're a jerk, but you're still in the community. Gee, Jab, and Colors are in the ban zone, and that's where they're going to stay. No one's going to associate with them, so you're not there. You're not there. You're fine. Don't beat yourself down. So, Anyway, I think I'm gonna call it a stream here. I think we had a pretty decent stream. It was a nice conversation. Any last words?
What will we watch in the next week, my friend?
Good question. Shall we continue on with the hammer stuff?
We should, because now we had a lukewarm Hammer movie,
Hmm.
and we should look further into their discography and maybe make comparisons.
So what do you think should be next movie?
There are many interesting Hammer movies.
I'm gonna look into my filmography and then I'll see which one is one of the more clean ones. Maybe I should do one of the Frankenstein ones.
Curse of Frankenstein.
Yes, maybe we'll do Curse of Frankenstein next. So
Yeah,
let's do
it
that
has
next.
Peter Cushing. It has Christopher Lee as the monster. Yeah, it's
Yes.
good movie.
Okay, so we're gonna do that next week. We're gonna do Curse of Frankenstein next week, and then after that, we'll see where we go from there. So that'll be our next movie. Yep.
KSSS wants us to watch the lesbian movies with the vampire.
Of course he does. Of course he does. That'll have to come much later. Much later. And that may not even be suitable for this chemistry because I want to keep it more somewhat kid friendly, but that will be impossible at times. But doesn't mean we have to stretch the limit way too far either. So anyway, we're gonna call it a stream. So there says thanks for the stream. Have a great night. So everybody, thanks for watching, and thank you to my guests for being here. And
Goodbye, my friend.
thank you. And we will see you next week. And I do need to get a better outro for these horror streams, but we'll just stick with the one that I currently have because that seems to be doing the job. So wait, am I getting a hold on? Oh, I just got sent the Hammer filmography. That's awesome. So I'll look into that. So the rest of you have a great night. And I leave you with what I've been told is the best intro in YouTube. Take care.